Hi there. Have you ever followed a recipe or watched a cool how-to video? Chances are there was a decent amount of procedural writing involved.
Procedural writing is really just a fancy way of saying that it's a piece of writing that explains a process. A lot of the time, procedural writing explains to the reader how to do something. For instance, if I wanted to make a triple decker chocolate cake, but I don't know how to make one, I would have to look at a recipe, which is a form of procedural writing because it tells the reader how to make a cake.
The first step to doing your own procedural writing is brainstorming topics that you know a ton about or enough about that you could explain to someone else. For instance, if I brainstorm things that I'm good at and that I know how to do, I can think of making a pizza or riding a bike, tying my shoelaces, or even making a new friend. So today, I am going to do my procedural writing on tying shoelaces.
The next thing we're going to do is make a chart to help us organize the steps. So you're going to divide a piece of paper into 4 parts, and you're going to label those parts first, then, next, and finally. We're going to start in the section we labeled first because that's where we're going to write the very first thing that we have to do to tie our shoelaces once we have everything we need. And the very first thing that we do when we're tying our shoes is to, grab each lace and each hand. And that's exactly what we're going to write in the first section. The next step is to cross your laces and pull one around and under the other lace. And now we write that down in our then section. Notice how this section has 2 points. It's important to remember that each section can have one or more points or sentences because sometimes you need more than one sentence to explain a step. The more detail you add in your steps, the more information you give to your reader. Moving on to our next step, make a loop with one of the laces and pinch it between your thumb and finger. Then wrap the other lace around the loop. And that's exactly what I'm going to write in the next section of my chart. Now that I only have one more section to go, we have to think about the very last thing we do, the very last step. And that is to pull that same lace that you wrapped around your loop underneath itself until you have 2 loops. Then pull each loop tightly. You might have to fix it up to make sure it looks pretty. And be sure to write that in your last section. Now that our chart is all filled out, we'll be ready next time for the next step where we put it all together. Be sure to brainstorm things that you're good at and write a first, then, next, finally chart of your own.
So hopefully you're off to a great start on your own procedural writing, filling out your own first, then, next, finally chart. You know that I love charts. And next time we're going to look at how to take that chart and turn it into our own piece of procedural writing. And with any luck, you might just learn how to tie your shoes too.